So, get a new story today. Let's see what we got going on. It says here, Howard Stern's parents were robbed at Knifepoint 5 times. Guess if it ain't broke, don't fix it, huh? Before they finally agreed to leave their middle-class home despite their son's insane wealth. It's insane. There are billionaires out in the world, but he's so wealthy, it's mentally ill. Howard Stern's parents have always been an integral part of his long-running radio show. They have? How are they even still alive? Howard Stern is old as shit. And why are you using a knife to rob old people? You just use your hands. Or you can just use your words, really. Say I'll yell too loudly if you don't give me your money. Despite the fact that they haven't appeared on the Stern show in person for years, the self-proclaimed king of all media is famous for doing eerily accurate impressions of them to entertain his audience. Okay. He did impressions of his parents, apparently. I've never watched Howard Stern. Although most of the stories he tells about Ben and Ray Stern are decidedly depressing. You know, if they're getting robbed 5 times by Knifepoint, then their lives probably shit. While he may be worth upwards of $650 million today and married to the beautiful and philanthropic Beth, well, if she's getting half of 650 million, she can afford to be philanthropic. Howard Stern's childhood was anything but glamorous. Most of this has to do with the choice his parents made to live in Roosevelt, Long Island. Wow. Didn't know that was a bad neighborhood. New York, and then in the nearby Rockville Center, both of which were predominantly Black communities. Oh my God. That's got to be racist. Notably poor, not the poor Blacks, and riddled with crime. Damn, they have a crime infection. And despite Stern's later success, his parents remained in Rockville Center until they got old. Well, if they remained in Rockville Center, they're going to get old. And this is where they were robbed at Knifepoint 5 times. I mean, considering the amount of years they lived there, 5 times is probably not that bad. A lot of people probably got worse. What happened to Howard Stern's parents? Many fans have wondered what happened to Howard Stern's parents after they stopped their frequent appearances on Sirius XM's The Howard Stern Show in early 2010s. Really? The truth is, they both got too old to pop on the radio and embarrass their son live on air. They're embarrassing him, making him millions. This was a great disappointment to the fans, given that Stern's complicated relationship with both his father and his mother was frequently dissected on air by all parties involved. They were also downright hilarious, were they? Oh, I guess he got the curly hair from his mom. And the fro. I hope he didn't wear her dresses when he was younger. He's styling himself after her. Unfortunately, Howard Stern's father, Ben, passed away in the summer of 2022. Oh, should I start with that? And his final moments with him were downright heartbreaking. The radio legend has been paying a fortune to keep his ailing mother alive ever since. How old is she? At the time of this writing, Ray Stern is alive and living with AIDS in a high-end care facility in New York. His mother's name is Ray? Is it like Raynette or something? Howard Stern's parents were robbed at Knifepoint 5 times. During his June 7th, 2023 show, Howard Stern revealed that his parents were robbed multiple times while in their own home. Well, it's probably too easy to get into their home. Parents have been involved with aggravated robbery, Howard Stern said to the longtime co-host Robin Quivers. Is he a DC superhero? On air, after discussing the topic of a former American Idol contestant's criminal record. Did I ever tell that story on air? I think now would be the time to tell it. Well, probably ran out of subjects a long time ago, so it might as well. When we lived in Roosevelt and then moved to Rockville Center, that house in Rockville Center had been, after I went to college, they got robbed like five times in the house. It was unbelievable. I can believe it. The radio legend went on to say that his parents refused to spend money on an alarm system. Well, they'll just know they're getting robbed sooner. That's not going to stop anything, which would have solved the problem. However, his mother was so kooky, okay, and didn't want an alarm because it would inhibit her ability to open windows for fresh air. Yeah, she'd probably set off their alarm all the time. This aggravated Stern for more than one reason. At the time, he was starting to become famous and make a bit of money. Therefore, he didn't want people to think that he wasn't helping his parents out financially. I'd be more worried about their safety. What are you talking about? Your image? He continuously offered help, but Stern claimed Ben and Ray had to be continuously convinced to accept money. Okay. I had to buy them cars. They're not going to be driving very far, so their cars, whatever car they had was probably fine, and stuff because I couldn't have them in that shit box my old man was driving. Probably fine, and I ended up buying them 2 cars, but I had bills to pay at the time, and I didn't have that much money. While Ben and Ray accepted the cars, they continued to refuse the alarm system. Then my parents started getting robbed. He continued. Okay. In the Rockville Center house, there was a safe in the basement, but this safe was constantly kept open because Ben didn't want it in the first place. He probably doesn't want to have to remember the combination. He was worried that workmen would take notice of it and believe that they had something to steal. Yet Ben didn't want to spend the money on getting rid of the safe, so he just kept it open. But they robbed him anyways. Yeah, why not? There was one point where my parents had so many robberies in their house that my mom had no more good jewelry left. At least they left the good china, right? Stern said before revealing that he kept buying her new jewelry. Why would you do that? No wonder you're getting robbed 5 times, but that would just end up getting stolen too. I wasn't buying it for my mom. I was buying it for the robbers so they have something to take. There was nothing in the house. Okay. I guess your parents are out of their mind. You might as well help the robbers out a little bit. Stern continued to beg his parents to get an alarm system, but their new excuse was that they didn't want to live in fear of more robberies. Okay. But it continued to happen. Most of the time, Ben and Ray Stern weren't home when the robbers broke in. Yeah, that made sense. Most robbers wouldn't do it while they were witnesses. But Stern revealed that one time they were in bed and held down at Knifepoint. Okay, they were only held at Knifepoint once. That's not as bad. So you get his father's nose. I guess his mom and dad kind of look alike. They have the same nose. So no wonder he got that nose. Yeah, I think his head shape from his dad. All right, why am I talking about this? I got a call in the middle of the night. They were laying in bed, 2 dudes or 3 dudes. Right? It could be 5. They get woken up, knives to their throats. Stern claimed before adding that he was shocked by how unfazed his parents were by the whole ordeal. Yeah, well, they old as hell. What do you think they experienced back in the day? Even in the moment, they easily and calmly complied with the robbers' demands and forked over the car keys to the Cadillacs their son purchased for them. Okay. Despite Stern telling his parents that they could have been killed, they still refused to get an alarm system. By the way, unbelievably, the cops caught the dudes, of course. They stole a car that can be tracked. Turns out they were two dudes from Hempstead who were going around Long Island hitting everybody, and they effed up, and the police caught them with my parents' car. They got the license plate. These guys were kind of idiots. Yeah, obviously. Eventually, Ben and Ray finally got an alarm after their son continued to plead with them. And guess what? They never got robbed again. They were more annoyed by his nagging than they were about getting robbed all the time. They also refused to leave Rockville for a significant period, despite Howard Stern willing to cough up a fortune to move them out. In their old age, they moved into a swanky apartment with aides until Ben passed away, and Ray had to be moved to a full-time care facility where she continues to live. Maybe they had friends in that neighborhood. That's why they didn't want to leave. I don't know. I don't know what goes through old people's minds. Anyways, that was something. I'm so glad I don't watch that radio show. Until next time.